Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. I have a 10-minute painting video for you, nice and quick, so you can just kind of try something out and get a whole piece done in a relatively short amount of time. It is in real time, so if you want to try and follow along, I encourage you to do that. Otherwise, feel free to just sit back and enjoy watching. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I have to apologize because I didn't realize that the little bottom part of my palette kind of went out of the frame a little bit on this, so I apologize, but you can still see all the colors. That is alizarin crimson. It's at the very bottom. You can see about half of it. So started out with laying down some alizarin crimson. It's a nice cool red. And as with all my other 10-minute videos, I don't have an outline drawing to begin with. I just go ahead and start laying down the paint so I can get it done really quick and just kind of have fun with it. This is now cadmium yellow medium, so a very golden, almost dandelion type yellow. And you probably can't tell yet, but this is an apple that I'm going to be painting. And of course, since I didn't have an outline drawing to really get those nice proportions, it turns out a bit oblong. It almost looks more like a mango by the end with the shape than maybe an apple. There's some cadmium yellow light, very light lemony yellow. It's lovely. But yeah, those are the hazards of not doing an outline drawing. If you want to maybe have a little more accuracy with your 10-minute drawings, take the time up front to do a nice outline sketch, get the proportions exact, and then you can go in and paint as quick as you like. But for now, we can kind of enjoy some of the funny imperfections that can come out of just these quick paintings. The other thing I need to kind of just apologize for a bit is some of the jiggliness of the camera. I have this lovely sort of phone holder to be able to have this bird's eye view of my painting that I got recently, and it works wonderfully, except that it's attached to my desk, so whenever I get even just kind of a slight movement of the desk, the camera jiggles a bit. So I apologize for that. I'm learning as I go, so I appreciate you learning along with me. Each time I do a painting or do a video, I improve or learn something new, so I'm always trying to do better the next time. The quality of the image is I've been very pleased with that, but sometimes these little kinks I need to work out, so I promise I'll work on that for next time. Anyhow, you saw me lay in at that bottom portion some sap green. Lovely thing about most apples, especially those kind of reddish yellow ones, is they're not just one color. It's not just pure red. You're going to have some yellows, you're going to have some greens, you're going to have different shades of red. You're going to have the more cool red like the alizarin crimson, which has almost a kind of bluishness to it. And then you're going to have more warm reds, which have kind of the orangey side of things to them. So really play with color here. Don't just use one color. You have to retrain your mind. You think, oh, red apple, I'm going to use red. You're going to be using a lot more colors than just that. So have fun with it. And I'm using, for the most part so far, I've been using a flat brush, and but now I'm transitioning to that size 3 round brush or round tip, either or. And putting in that's the bottom of the apple, so you know how most apples have that indentation, and then the sort of little hairy follicles that are coming out from the bottom. So I wanted to get some detail work on that, but the flat brush, this is my, I believe, size 8 flat brush that I was using earlier, is really great for some of these shapes where you need a nice hard edge, because the edge of your brush already comes to this lovely rectangular point, and you can really use that, take advantage of that to have a nice hard smooth edge. So that's why I was using that earlier rather than a round brush. But of course the smaller one, this tip, helps me create some finer details there. And it was, and also maintaining that highlight. So you really want to, in order to get dimension to your shape, especially a round fruit type shape, you want to make sure that you maintain those highlights. I even, of course, since I didn't draw or block it in first, lost some of mine. I didn't have quite enough of a highlight, so I did have to lift some of that paint off later on, which you'll see. But otherwise, really trying to maintain that wide of the paper for the highlight, and then have the full range of kind of colors in between, as well as your shadows and darkest darks for the curvature. So, and sometimes you may get a little too dark in an area where you don't mean to, so you just clean your brush, pat it on your towel so that it's just damp rather than really sopping wet brush, and then you go back over your paint. See how that's kind of lightening up there? So that really helped with that, to lighten it up. There was a bit of shadowing on that side, but not so dramatic like your deepest shadow. Some more of that cadmium yellow light just going in there and trying to get some of that texture. You know, when you look at an apple, how there's those kind of flecks of yellow in the red and flecks of red in the yellow. So just really playing around with that texture and using sort of the edge of the brush for that. And by now you can tell, obviously, how my shape is a little oblong, so it really does look kind of mango-y, but that's okay. I sometimes get overexcited and I just drop my brush, so that happens more often than I would like. Luckily, it didn't go on the paper this time. Going back in with some burnt umber on the tips of those little kind of follicles or little fibers. I don't really know what to call them. I don't think they're really the branch. The branch is at the top part of the apple. This is the bottom. But anyhow, just getting some of those details in. Really tried to get that shadow in there, and I am working from a reference image. It's from unsplash.com. They have copyright-free photos on there. The image is linked in the description if you would like to see the original. Obviously, since this is such a quick painting, it's not going to look exactly as hyper-realistic as I would get with a more extended painting, but you can see the similarities. So I encourage you to click on the link in the description to see the original image. And there you go. You see me kind of clearing out some of that paint where I realized I needed more of a highlight. So I'm just taking a damp brush. Again, sorry for the camera jiggle, but taking a damp, clean brush and just kind of blotting it, dabbing it on top of the paint that's on the paper, and then lifting it off with sort of a cloth, right? Well, not here, but you saw me lay it down earlier to sort of lift some of that excess paint off. And it's nice, the more you do something, kind of the more you will get better at it. So I've been doing these 10-minute paintings for a little while, and I think one of the first few that I did like a tomato, so another fruit type shape. And already I have seen improvement just in this 10 minutes compared to when I did that tomato. So if you want to see that video, it's you can click up in that kind of upper right hand corner. But see the difference, see how much I feel like I have improved. So you will likely see that too. If you do one every week, heck, if you have time to do one every day or every other day, just the more often you do it, you're going to get better at it and get even better at managing your time, even in these short stints of painting. So I really encourage you to just keep going, keep doing it and trying it. The more you build something, build a skill and work at it, you will see improvement. So that can be really encouraging as well. There we go. Again, trying to make that some of those random flecks of yellow in there. So flicking the paintbrush along my finger so it goes on the page. There you go. The first time I didn't have the paint quite wet enough, so I had to add a little more water and paint. Now you can see those lovely little yellow dots. And I realized I didn't have a lot of time left, so I went ahead to these last about 45 seconds to just add the signature. And I know I said this is in real time, which it is, but I did go ahead and work for 4 more minutes to add some more to it, just to make it feel like a little bit more of a finished painting. So we're coming up on that 10 minutes right here. So there's 10 minutes, and then here is time-lapsed for the 4 more minutes, just really quick. I added some more kind of details in there. And then I also, the photograph was of a set of apples hanging in a tree. I just did the one apple, but I wanted to add some of that greenery, a little more abstract, obviously, but really get a sense of a setting for this apple. So I'm using sap green and hooker's green. Finally got it right. Adding more of that shadow with the cadmium red medium as well as Payne's gray. Just adding a little more texture in there, and really that helped make it feel like a slightly more finished piece. Just 4 more minutes. And there's the final appearance. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. Until my next video, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, God bless, and I'll see you soon.